Honestly, we all know what being traumatized feels like. Like, we all know what it means to be in pain. We all know what it means to be on a healing journey, to do all the different things, to do breath work, to watch tons of YouTube videos like this one. And I think in the midst of this shadow work, trauma healing, nervous system regulation jungle, we often lose track of what it actually feels like to grow out of trauma, to outgrow the trauma, to actually grow towards a version of you, to grow towards a life of you that feels meaningful and good. When does the point come where your trauma is healed, where you have restored the balance within your body and in your nervous system? Today we'll give you 5 pointers towards that. 5 signs that you've outgrown your trauma. And I have a little list here. I will look here at some points in the video, so don't take it personal, please. Let's dive right in. So the first one is, you feel a pull towards growth, even if it scares you. And the fear, the part about even if it scares you, is really, really important here. So the first thing is, you feel a pull towards growth. You have a vision for yourself. You're like, okay, I finally feel like I'm worthy, and I finally have an idea about how I want to live my life. I have this embodied agency, this sense of let's fucking go, like let's go into life. I want to experience something. I want to craft nice things. But the thing is, for most people, and me included, that's not so simple, because that's scary. And healing trauma, outgrowing trauma, doesn't mean that you're never afraid anymore. It more means expanding your capacity to hold the fear that will show up if you start growing. So this is about, instead of seeking safety, you're seeking curiosity and expansion. Because most of the times when we're traumatized, we have experienced certain things and we feel like fundamentally unsafe in your body. So we are craving safety a lot, right? We want to build this base. But the thing is, if your life turns into an attempt to build a base and there's no house that is built on that base, then your life is lacking meaning. And there will be a point in your life where you feel like, okay, the base is established and the ground is like fertile and I've planted the seeds, and all you need to do then is to water them with curiosity and with the will to expand into territories that you are afraid of going into, but you deep down know that it's worthy of going that path. So you're learning that anxiety is not danger, but it's sort of a growth pain, when we're growing up and our limbs are stretching out, just like our soul is stretching out when we're expanding, that usually hurts. Like growing up hurts, and outgrowing the trauma helps in the same way. And the anxiety that comes when you're like, oh fuck, I'm doing something really scary here. This is the growth pain that I'm talking about. This was the first point. So let's dive into the second point. This is, you seek authenticity within you over approval from without you. So you're stopping to hide from conflict. I believe that conflict is the deepest invitation you can have to making your relationships more strong that there is on the planet. Like, conflicts are not the death of relationships, they're actually the birth of relationships. And again, there's this theme of willfully stepping into fear here, because conflict is not enjoyable. Like, let's be honest here, but there's a deep reward that comes when we're willfully stepping into conflict, and that takes a lot of courage. And that means, can you allow yourself to show yourself authentically as you are, even though that might mean you're getting rejected, even though that might mean people are not liking what you're saying? Can you allow yourself to be yourself, even though it means friction and conflict? If the answer is yes to that, chances are that you've outgrown your attachment patterns and the dependency on other people, and you're actually becoming more of yourself. Because actually, what if there's a part of you that says something like, even though I might reject it, I love myself so much. I love my impulses, I love my life, and I love the way I am so much, I'm willing to lose people over that. Can you feel the power that comes with that? So being honest is a risk. And if you're willing to take that risk, that can mean that your nervous system has like so much capacity to hold fear and to hold discomfort that you've probably outgrown your trauma. Like you're in the green zone. Obviously, this is not, I just noticed while I speak that there's a chance that you feel like there's like black and white thinking, and you either outgrow your trauma or you either are traumatized and in the trauma. This is like, this is a, this is way more complex than this. Like you're there, like the trauma doesn't fully leave your body. At least I feel that. I think we all have life patterns and they're returning and returning. I think what I'm talking about here is the capacity to hold the return of these life patterns. And it's not about being okay forevermore. It's really about the capability of being with pain and being okay with yourself, fundamentally having the idea that I'm okay the way I am, no matter what happens. I want to clarify this as we get through point 3 of this video, and that is that you find meaning in your pain. You feel like your pain is no longer a punishment. When I was going through my own healing journey, let's be honest, I'm still going through it. Like that's the black and white thinking that I mean. And I don't want to position myself like as this guru expert that has healed all of the trauma, because that's not even the goal. The goal. That was a nice Freudian slip. Because the gold is actually in the pain. I don't mean to get rid of my pain. I frequently feel anxiety for going into new territory and for deepening my relationships and working on my attachment patterns, but I don't see the pain as punishment. I see the pain as a doorway towards growth. And I'm willfully opening that door, and this is the same that happens in our Emotional Release Academy and in the coachings, the mentorships with my clients. They are willfully opening that door in a safe space. And what they experience there is the pain is no longer punishment. There's actually a part that is waiting to be rescued. And that part is beautiful. So the suffering is in that way a part of your unfolding. I just got the image of like a flower that is growing through the concrete. You've probably seen this. Like there's a paved road, and at some point there's like a flower that made its way through the concrete, through the heaviness, through the very thick ground, the concrete, and it's breaking through. It's breaking through and it's growing towards the light. And I believe that this breakthrough, this pain, is something that needs to be witnessed and endured in order to grow towards the light. So in that way, you see yourself, you see your pain and you see yourself as an invitation towards growth. And here's the 4th point. The 4th point is you're feeling less controlled by old defenses. So you're seeking connection instead of shutdown. So when we're going through life, there are moments where our usual response is like, oh fuck, it's happening again. It might be like a conflict in the relationship that is happening over and over again, or this one thing that you're procrastinating since months, or this one thought that you keep falling asleep to when you're going into bed, or the same thought that you wake up to the morning, these ruminations. There will be a point where you, instead of shutting down, you seek connection. And in that way, you're not controlled anymore. You're not overwhelmed anymore by old defenses. You feel instead the agency within you to step into these old defenses, to witness them, to unblend from them, to separate yourself from the pain, looking at it like you look into the eyes of a child and you say, hey, I'm here and I'm capable of holding you. Whatever comes up, I feel like I'm okay the way I am, and whatever part that is carrying that pattern, you have the agency and the capability of telling that part, hey, it's okay, really. And through that, you feel calm in moments that usually made you feel anxious, because all of a sudden you're not like, oh fuck, no, I'm freaking out again, I'm on the train again, I'm having a panic attack. It's more like, okay, this part is showing up again, and it's not against me. It's probably an inner child of mine that needs to be loved and nourished, and I can be with it instead of running away. And then you experience the contrast, because there will be moments where you feel like, oh, wait a second, I used to freak out in these moments. Oh, wait a second, my relationship all of a sudden feels like a tiny bit better, or even like you finally feel brave enough to trust someone and it feels really good. These contrasts are becoming more and more once you start to outgrow your trauma. So you're establishing a more accepting relationship to yourself, to your patterns, that is more embracing than rejecting. Instead of deeming yourself flawed and saying you're not good the way you are and you need to probably heal a bit more. This is not true. You're starting to accept yourself. And that's a good sign you're on the right path. So let's talk about the last point here. And that is, you experience moments of aliveness and possibility. Abraham Maslow called these peak experiences. And this is very new to me, actually, because in my trauma healing journey, I was very deep into the shadow work. I was like going into the dumps, and I was like, oh, there's one more trauma around the corner. There's one more active imagination that I need to do. And I was so focused on the darkness that I was cutting out all the light in my life, all of my potentials. And really, on a very mundane embodied experience, I wasn't allowing myself to feel joy and to feel flow and to feel happiness, inspiration, all of these things. And once I started allowing these in, the shadow became more clear. My shadow work actually became more effective and more juicy, so to speak. But something other really, really important and beautiful thing happened. I experienced moments that were filled with so much beauty that they made the suffering that I'm experiencing from time to time, they make it meaningful. Sometimes I'm walking through a forest and it just suddenly hits me. From the state of balance that I've, like from the foundation that I mentioned, suddenly I felt a feeling of safety, and an experience came to me that was just so beautiful. My stomach started like tingling, and was breathing in, my heart was burst open, and I felt like the grace of, and this is getting a bit esoteric and spiritual here, but the grace of something bigger moving through me, and I was feeling a deep, deep peace and contentment. And I'm so grateful that I learned to allow that in. And I, like these states only came to me when I started to let the light in as well. This is the foundation, for me at least, that I'm building for myself, because I feel at this point I've to a fair degree outgrown my trauma, and I want to build a house of beauty and meaning on that foundation of years and years and years of journaling, shadow work, seeing therapists, doing retreats, group therapy, doing several trainings on the topic, and reading dozens of books. I want to create a foundation, and I've created that foundation, and want to build a house of beauty that is welcoming. And once this house is standing, and for myself, this house is standing actually as we speak, the beauty, the joy, the inspiration is increasing and increasing. And it actually becomes normal, for me at least, not only to feel good, but to feel deeply inspired and in a flow state. It's like at this point, and this might sound like Taoism to you, and if it sounds like that, I think the Taoists actually, they understood something really profound about life. Also, people like Rick Rubin, for example, who basically say that all you need to do is remove the blocks so the river can flow freely. There's like this sense of surrendering into the flow of life that I have currently, and that I also experience with my clients when they are in states of deep joy and relaxation, and they're just swaying in that feeling, and all of a sudden everything becomes so easy. Decisions become more easy. Life becomes more easy. Regulating my nervous system, talking to people, all of these things become more easeful, and life fundamentally becomes about being joyous. And this, like, I can feel the part that did like his shadow work, because I'm like, part of me is like, you're bullshitting. This is dangerous. Like, there's more shadows down here. You know that, right? Yes, I know. But at the end of the day, I find I have this foundation. And at the end of the day, like, let's truly be honest, when I'm laying on my deathbed, I want to look back on a life that feels meaningful, filled with slow flow, and filled with meaningful, beautiful memories and experiences. And this, for me, is what I'm healing my trauma for. This is the reason why I'm going into the shadows. It's so I can retrieve, so I can rescue all of these potentials that are down there. So I can yield and harvest all of the little treasures of gold that are waiting down there. And I can take the gold to the present moment, and I can marvel about the beauty that I've discovered there. And this beauty is stretching out into the present and visits me in moments where I didn't even expect it. This is getting pretty intense, and this is the last sign that you've outgrown your trauma. And this might sound big and like almost too big maybe, or too beautiful, or too joyous to be true. But I actually, in my experience with clients, this is an actual sign that you've outgrown your trauma. And really, I want to currently making a few more videos about this because I think that's an underappreciated perspective in the trauma healing. Growing towards that joy, allowing that joy in, allowing the flow in, removing the blockages that you have towards your feeling, towards your pain, but also towards your joy. Because not only is your resistance blocking out the pain, your resistance is also blocking out the joy. Like I'm burping as I speak because this is a good sign here. I don't feel ashamed for burping, because burping for me is actually a sign that my nervous system is in a state of homeostasis, and I'm talking about meaningful things that are deeply truthful to me. I get into a flow state. I'm in kind of a peak experience as I talk to you right now. I feel overjoyed. I feel inspired by my words. I feel so joyous that I get to do the work that I do and I get to share it with you. My nervous system is relaxing and I feel myself having like a big smile, and it's okay. I don't need to look for another shadow here. I don't need to look for something else. Like, I can just allow that joy to flow through me, and maybe like mirror neurons are a thing and our brains maybe are synced up at this point, and maybe you feel some of that joy as well. And I want that for you. I want you to outgrow your trauma and live a meaningful life. Truly. So, I thoroughly enjoy being on this journey with you, and I hope I'll see you in the next journey. Until then, really take this to heart. You're worthy. You're amazing. Life is worth living. It really is. Allow the joy in, allow the darkness in, and stay strong. You can do it. Bye-bye.